I arrived at Cycle Oregon 2021 pretty excited because it had been a few years since I've done Cycle Oregon. In fact, because the pandemic is on, it didn't happen at all last year, and so it's been a while since I or anybody has done a Cycle Oregon event. I got there on Friday afternoon, and this Cycle Oregon's a little different. It's 2 weekends actually instead of a solid week. First weekend is gravel, and the second weekend was road riding. So I got there the first weekend and brought the RV, and that also was something new because in the past, I had to stay in a tent because you move from place to place. And while a lot of people did stay in tents this year too, because it was all centered in one place, they let you bring your RV. That was nice. So there was a special purpose RV that was for having a party on top. The great thing about the camp is that the spirit that's there. Everyone's in a good mood. They're happy to be there. They're excited, and it's a time of possibilities. So there was a beautiful sunrise on the first day, before the first ride, and that just kind of set off the whole week to get going. Obviously, I brought my drone on this trip. Every trip I kind of have a theme that I do with me, whether it's a lot of photography or writing, or in this case, I brought the drone for drone photography. So headed off, started that first morning, and headed up a gravel road. This road was one that was kind of my first organized gravel ride. So headed up this, started right off on day one with a climb up this gravel road, not too hard, but headed up through a canyon and into the hills there around Tygh Valley, Oregon. And it was beautiful. Started out forested and into national forest, and it was awesome. Saw all kinds of good stuff. The gravel riding is not all gravel. Some of it is road to connect gravel segments, and these two gravel rides, both Saturday and Sunday, had a lot of a lot of climbing, especially. Wow, the second day was brutal. It was a lot, and but I loved it. Had a great time, and I was able to pull off, take some pictures on the side, and see a lot of other riders. And the usual thing. Cycle Oregon has great rest stops, so it's fine. You get to stop and eat lots of good snacks and chat with other riders and see how it's going for them. So that's the fun thing, is all these people you're sharing times with that are have a common interest. So that's pretty neat. I had one thing happen on my gravel bike where I pulled into a rest stop and I was having some trouble shifting, and luckily I found one of these Trek mechanics who was bored, and boy, he set me up. He just did a lot of work on the bike, and then he ended up even giving me a chain, replaced my chain for free, sent me on the road. It was pretty nice. Put me in a good mood for the rest of the day. So beautiful views on gravel. You're away from most everybody. You never see a car on gravel roads, and you just see lots of little animals and that sort of thing. So gravel riding was fantastic. I had a great time with that. Between the 2 weekends for Cycle Oregon, I was going to hang around Tygh Valley and just, even though there's nothing to do in Tygh Valley, I had to find some internet because I had to work on Monday and Tuesday. So I ended up driving down the road about, it was about 20 minutes or so, not too far, and stayed here in Maupin, in the city park, which is right across, or right next to the Chutes River. One of those afternoons I took off and drove down the Chutes a little bit and parked, and was able to do some fishing there in the river as well with the waders. So that was fun. Then it was back to camp, and stayed there, did a little more riding, and then when things started to pick up again as the second weekend fired up, Cycle Oregon road ride weekend. And so the great thing about happened on that is on Thursday, my sister arrived. Lee showed up, and now it was fun to have somebody to hang out with. One of the great things about Cycle Oregon is I like, one of my favorite things is the music. Every night they have a band come in, and usually they're pretty good, so I enjoy listening to that. And the camp filled up. I think it was like 500 something riders for the road ride, which was about double what was there for the gravel ride. And the road ride started off, as always, seems like started off with a big climb to start, but the climbs are great, and you always get to see some great scenery when you get to the top of the climb. Beautiful rolling country and changing terrain out there in the Tygh Valley area from forest to wheat fields. Rest stops always fully supplied and stocked, of course, and keeping the riders happy and amused and in a good mood. So I got to see Leedy quite a bit on that ride, because I would ride forward and then get busy taking pictures, and then she would catch up. Took some good pictures, I think. Some good, some threw away, but that's the fun of it. Just get out, try to capture the experience, and even able to share it with you watching this video right now. So just a beautiful country out there if you like that kind of country. We one of the days we came and actually rode into Maupin, which is where I spent that midweek. To get to Maupin, you have to go down a huge hill, because you have to get down to the Deschutes River again from up on the top where we were riding that day. So big descent into Maupin, beautiful big sweeping turn, and views as the air was clearing that day. So everything was just getting even better. So that was nice to go cruising down that and roll into Maupin, which is where we had our lunch stop. So that was kind of nice. Got to go down there, grab some lunch, a little bit of entertainment, and then out of Maupin, back out. This was the last day of riding. We got to ride along the access road that goes along the Deschutes for, I don't know what it was, 7 miles or something like that. Got to cross over the Deschutes, and then more climbing to get out of that canyon that Deschutes is in, and get back up onto the plateau. Kind of the final thing that we did that was phenomenal was there was a rest stop. The final rest stop was at an old hydro plant, old being, I think it was in the 1900s, early 1900s, that supplied power to the Dalles. And now it's defunct, of course, but what still remains is the beautiful waterfalls that were the thing that originally inspired them to make the power plant there. So it was a short hike, very short down, to get a good view of the waterfalls and the beautiful, that is the White River that goes through the waterfalls. So got to see that on our last day, last rest stop, and then it was just a mighty headwind, unfortunately, to get back to the camp from there and pack up and call it a weekend, or call it a whole week in my case, of riding and hanging out in Central Oregon. It was a good time. I'm looking forward to doing it again.